Welcome. Why Makebi Zulu emerges as the true winner. A deeper political analysis in the context of Zambia's electoral history. Recent online polls conducted by Emmanuel Mwamba have triggered intense discussion within Zambia's political community. At first glance, the results appear to favor President Hakainde Hichilema, particularly in a Facebook reaction poll where he secured over 51% of responses. Yet a closer examination of the polling formats and the political behavior they reveal suggests that another figure, Makebi Zulu, may actually have emerged as the most significant political beneficiary. To fully understand why, the results must be viewed not only through the lens of digital engagement, but also within the broader historical patterns of Zambian electoral politics. Understanding the polling structure. 3 different methods were used in the polls. Facebook reactions, call-in voting, and comment-based participation. Each method required a different level of commitment from participants. The reaction poll required only a simple click. In that format, President Hichilema dominated with more than half of the votes. However, reaction-based polls are often more reflective of visibility than genuine political commitment. As the sitting president and leader of the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, Hichilema enjoys a massive national profile. His prominence in media coverage and social platforms naturally gives him an advantage in low-effort engagement metrics. But political power is rarely determined by passive approval alone. The shift in engagement-based polls. The results changed dramatically once participation required more effort. In the call-in poll, participants had to dial a number to cast their vote. This process filters out casual observers and tends to attract only politically motivated individuals. Here, Harry Caliba led with 44.2%, followed closely by Makebi Zulu with 40.1%, while President Hichilema's support dropped sharply. An even more striking result appeared in the comment-based poll. In this format, voters had to publicly post their choice using their social media profiles. Makebi Zulu emerged as a clear winner with 43.5%, almost double the 24.4% received by Caliba. Hichilema's support again fell significantly. This pattern suggests something important. When political support requires visible effort, Zulu's base becomes far more active. Lessons from Zambia's political history. To appreciate the potential significance of this dynamic, it helps to examine how political momentum has historically developed in Zambia. Since independence in 1964 under Kenneth Kaunda, Zambian politics has experienced several periods where emerging political figures gradually transformed public frustration into electoral victories. One of the most notable examples occurred in 1991. At the time, Kaunda had governed Zambia for nearly 3 decades under a one-party system dominated by the United National Independence Party, UNIP. Yet beneath the surface, economic hardship and growing public dissatisfaction were mobilizing citizens toward change. That momentum ultimately propelled Frederick Chiluba and the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD, to victory in the 1991 elections. The key factor was not simply visibility, but mobilization. Chiluba's supporters were highly motivated and politically active. A similar pattern appeared again in 2011. For years, Michael Sata had built grassroots momentum through the Patriotic Front, PF. Despite losing several elections, his message resonated strongly with a dedicated base of supporters. That energy ultimately culminated in the 2011 election victory that ended 2 decades of MMD dominance. More recently, the 2021 election demonstrated the power of motivated voters once again. After multiple unsuccessful attempts, Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND mobilized and energized electorate, particularly young voters, leading to one of the largest electoral victories in Zambia's democratic history. Each of these moments followed the same political pattern. Highly motivated supporters eventually translate energy into electoral success. Visibility versus mobilization. The difference between these two forces, visibility and mobilization, is critical in political analysis. Visibility measures how widely recognized a political figure is. Incumbents and long-standing political figures usually dominate this category. Mobilization measures something very different, how willing supporters are to actively participate, organize, and advocate. The polling results suggest that President Hichilema currently dominates the visibility dimension. His presence across media and political platforms remains unmatched. However, the engagement-based polls indicate that Makebi Zulu's supporters may be unusually active and motivated. Historically, such enthusiasm can be the early indicator of political momentum. The rapid rise of Makebi Zulu. What makes this development particularly interesting is the speed with which Zulu has emerged in political discussions. Compared to long-established political figures, his re-entry into public political debate has been relatively recent. Since launching his social media platform in late 2025, he has already built a following exceeding 100,000. In the context of Zambia's political history, rapid rises like this often signal that a figure is tapping into existing public frustrations or aspirations. While it would be premature to draw a definitive conclusion from online polls alone, the pattern resembles early phases of past political movements in Zambia. The opposition landscape. Another factor to consider is the current state of the opposition. Figures like Harry Caliba continue to play significant roles in shaping alternative political narratives. However, Zambia's opposition space has often been fragmented, with multiple leaders competing for influence. If Makebi Zulu continues to build momentum among politically active supporters, he could potentially become an important figure within this evolving landscape. Whether this momentum translates into formal political structures remains an open question, a signal rather than a prediction. Online polls are not substitutes for scientific electoral surveys, and their results should be interpreted carefully. However, they can sometimes reveal underlying political energy. In this case, the results highlight three key realities. President Hakainde Hichilema retains strong national visibility that Zambia's opposition field remains competitive and fluid. Makebi Zulu may be building a highly engaged support base. In the long history of Zambian politics, from Kaunda to Chiluba, from Sata to Hichilema, political change has often begun with small but motivated groups of supporters. Whether Zulu's current momentum develops into a larger political movement remains uncertain. But if history offers any lesson, it is that the most consequential political shifts often begin quietly, long before the broader public recognizes them. Thanks for watching. For more content like this, please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. One Zambia, one nation, one people.